What's going on, guys? I know it's quite the controversial title, but just hear me out, okay? Before I start the video, I want to ask you two questions. First one, what do you think is the most heavily scalped, invested, people who don't actually play the game? What game do you think has the most people doing that, right? Out of all the TCGs, which one? Second question, which game do you think has the cheapest decks? So as far as like if I just want to play the game, what game can I create the cheapest decks with, right? And the reason I'm making this video, well, as the title would suggest, right, is this video is for if you're ever someone who hears someone talk about how scalpers and investor bros and all these ripping ships, they are destroying the game. They're making the game pieces too expensive, right? I can't get product anywhere. In this video, we'll basically completely destroy that narrative with facts, just straight up simple facts. And again, just show this to any time you hear like people trying to use this like emotional manipulation as far as you're taking game pieces from children and whatnot, right? So let's just get straight into it, right? So the first question I asked you was actually, let's go to the second question. And the second question I asked you was, what do you think has the cheapest? We'll go to this. All right. I asked you what deck do you, or like what game do you think has the cheapest decks? So let's just kind of go through here. So the average price of a competitive Pokemon deck is between $75 and $150. Assuming you purchase individual cards with their minimum rarity, basically you're not getting like the full arts, the SIRs, right? They obviously talk about blinged out versions. And if you do a blinged out version, yeah, you can maybe exceed over $1,000, but for the most part, and I'll even show you guys here, these aren't like super competitive cards, but just to give you like an idea, right? To the cheapest EX cards, so like just the playable versions, not like the blinged out art versions, you literally have Team Rocket's Mew, which is like, there's like the $500, $600 version of it. It's $1.47, guys. If you really want to play with it in your deck, I assure you there are plenty, right? So again, if you want like the blinged version, it's expensive. They even have another version here. So they're good at making like 2-3 versions of their cards. And then if I just really want to play because I'm just a player, boom, I've got this one, right? Okay. So let's go to Magic now. And I'm going to use Commander here. Now, I'm not like clearly, right? Let's look at this. The average price of a top tier competitive Commander CDH deck is typically between $8,000 and $12,000. Now, this is obviously if you're doing Power 9. Like, I don't play Commander, but this would be essentially a format that allows vintage, crazy power stuff, right? However, right, like much less often 500 to 1,000. So again, we're still way more 500 to 1,000 than 75 to 150, right? Still quite a bit more. And let's just go look at, again, this is one of the newer Magic sets. It's not like a Universes Beyond or anything. It's just it's Eternity's Edge. So I just went to like Majestics, or sorry, Majestics, I'm thinking Fab. I just went to Mythic, which is like the highest rarity. And so the most expensive Mythic in this Edge of Eternities, it's like $35, right? We'll say it's $30, but let's say you wanted 4 of these, 3, 6, 9, 12. 3, 6, 9, 12. I mean, that's already. And then let's say you're already at $120 for 4 cards. So you're already at the price of a Pokemon deck just to have 4 of these. And then let's say you just want some rares, right? Which isn't even a mythic. It's a step down. Well, look, there's literally a rare, which let's say you want 4 of these. That's another $40. And so you've only got 8 cards. And what is Commander? 100? Minus the whatever the lands. So there again. Are you guys starting to see the trend possibly? Now, let's go to Flesh and Blood, which is basically only players, right? There's really no, like, we can agree it's a very player heavy format. And their decks can run several $100s, with some exceeding $1,000, while more budget friendly options for a few $100s. Let's go look at the newest Flesh and Blood set. And this is upsetting a lot of people. This isn't normal, but again, we have just war. This is just a normal card, $36. Now here we have a card. You can only have one of these in your deck, but it's a very expensive card. If TCG player wants it, $300. So one card, it's not the fancy version. It's, which they're kind of the same price basically, $425, $312, right? So if you just want a deck with one of these cards in it, your deck minimum is $300. So what am I getting at? What is the point of this video? What are we saying? Let's go back to my first question. What game is scalped, invested, pack braked the most? It's Pokemon. So the game, and what really made me, some guy in a comment just went on this whole tangent. I didn't even read most of it, but at the very end, he basically was like, as a player, I've seen what's happened to Pokemon, and I don't want that happening to my games. And it's like, you don't want your game to be the most successful TCG and have the cheapest playable cards? Okay, like, the point of this video is never let someone emotionally try and manipulate you that, oh, by doing this to Pokemon, you're taking the playable cards away from kids. No, again, it's people upset that it's more expensive for them to gamble. It's just upset gambling addicts. If they truly are just a player, they'll just go on TCG Player and they'll just buy the cards for like $1, right? They are not players. They are gambling addicts. They don't play the game. They just want to rip product for cheap, okay? So that is the point of this video. The point of this video is to show you that anytime you hear someone trying to emotionally hit you with this, like, you're an evil investor, bro, you're destroying my game. Well, no, actually, you're making the game pieces more affordable by having so many people crack and break product that don't play, that then just flood the market with singles. These people don't know what they're talking about. They don't do any sort of research. They don't believe what they're saying. They just like to talk and yap. It is what it is. Again, if you have anyone who says these things, ask them those two questions. That's all you have to do. What's the most scalped and investor broed TCG there is? And then ask them, what TCG has the cheapest decks? Does it just happen to be that the game that's the most invested and the most scalped and the most cracked, it just happens to also have the cheapest singles? It also happens to be the most successful? Is that just a coincidence? I don't know, right? I'm not an expert. I'm just a guy who looks at the details and I go, I don't think these people play the game. I think these people just want cheaper product to break for themselves because they're either gambling addicts or it's their entertainment of, like, if that's, and maybe it's just their source of fun, which is fine. But say that you're not a player, right? Like, you're not playing the game. Because if you were, you would know that the Pokemon decks literally are the cheapest decks of any TCG. So again, this is for anyone. If you ever hear someone saying that stuff, again, just ask them those two questions. Send them this video. It's the easiest thing to debunk. We did it in 8 minutes. We debunked their whole philosophy in 8 minutes. I could have done it in 2 minutes probably, but we need that YouTube ad money, right? So that good 30 cents. But that's all I got, guys. Yeah, I don't know. I just thought it was so funny. I just remember reading that guy's comment, and it was just wild how this guy could basically type paragraphs in a YouTube comment, and he couldn't be any more wrong. He was just completely wrong. So I find that funny. But hey, have a good one, guys.